Hello, Fatih. Thank you so much for having us. Lo primero que quería preguntarte es que tus películas a menudo tratan sobre personas desplazadas de alguna manera que están intentando encontrar su lugar en el mundo. Quería preguntarte por qué ahora Amrum, cómo surge este proyecto que es tributo a Harkbaum.
Well, Boom was the writer and planned to be the filmmaker for this film. Boom was my former film professor in film school, and then we became friends and co-writers together. We worked several films of mine together, and this should be his last film because he was a director in the past. And but he was too old, and he became ill, and he couldn't do the film, so he asked me to do that. And what started as a, I don't know, favor or mission or, I don't know, lesson, whatever you want to call it, turned out to become a very personal and successful and actual film of mine, you know. So I did not expect that from the very beginning when I accept the film. But the cinema is full of surprises, the life is full of surprises.
La película trata sobre los horrores de la guerra sin que en ningún momento... Perdón, sorry. La película trata sobre los horrores de la guerra. En ningún momento la vemos directamente, pero la sentimos en cada escena. ¿Fue este uno de los grandes retos de la película?
We feel the war in each one of the scenes, although we don't see the war. Was this one of the main challenges of making the movie?
It was something what attracted me, because most of the war films, I mean, Second World War films, are very much like the battlefield and the Saving Private Ryan and Auschwitz. I don't know. So I think these films, they all have their space, you know, and they all have their, no, not space, place. But I was looking for something else. I was looking for, how does the war feel for a society on the countryside? How is the war for, if you are not really on the front line, you know? So how is a daily life in the war? This is something where you don't have too many examples in the story of cinema, you know? So, but how can you still make it attractive for an audience, you know, suspenseful for an audience? Yes, it was challenging, but I also saw it as a chance.
En la película vemos todo a través de los ojos de Jasper Billerbergs. Vemos como sus creencias, la forma en la que él ve el mundo se derrumba conforme llega al final de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. ¿Cómo de difícil fue encontrar a ese protagonista ideal que llevara a cabo la emoción de la película?
There was a child casting agency who I worked with together several times in the past, and they suggest to go for kids from the countryside, because this film very much is about nature, and today's big city children, although you have more child actors from big cities, especially Berlin, they don't get along with nature. They don't walk barefoot in the sand. They see a spider and they, I don't know, collapse, fainting. So she was writing to sailing schools from the coast, because we had sailing scenes in the film, and she put announcements on sailing schools, and this kid responded to one of those announcements. He was from a sailing school from northern Germany, and he was the right kid. I didn't know this from the beginning. I knew he had to carry the film. I was like, if the boy sucks, the film sucks. I knew. Okay, I was aware of that, but I had luck to choose that kid. It was good to hear to my instincts to pick up that kid. The kid was perfect. He had the perfect face. I always liked his face from the very beginning. His face is interesting because this Schochach test, kind of like, so you could have a scene, editing now, right? You have a scene where someone is slipping over a banana. I see my kid with his expression, and it looks like he's laughing. I could have a scene where someone kills an animal, a horse, shoot a horse, sad moment. And then I have the same image of the kid with the banana before, the same image. And you would think he cries. He has such a face. He's reflecting the feelings of the audience.
Otra de las protagonistas de la película, y creo que es fundamental, es la propia isla, el territorio que rodea a esta comunidad. Intentaste ver en esa comunidad un poco como un reflejo de la Alemania del momento. Esa era la intención, el contraponer la belleza del paisaje, un poco el rural idealizado con las heridas del pueblo alemán y del resto de coetáneos de la época.
The film is named on that island, Amrum, la isla de Amrum. And so it was a character from the beginning. And I handled in the past the city of Hamburg, where most of my films take place. I always try to tell the city as a character. And I think it succeed in a way, but now was the challenge to do that with an island, to do that with the nature, So it was the first time for me. I had examples. I think one role model, of course, was Terrence Malick's work. In a way, like the way how he handles light, especially light, but also there is a film by Terrence Malick, The Thin Red Line, where he brings the beautiness of this island, like the paradise, this Pacific island on the war with the Japanese, together with the brutality of the war. When I saw that, when it was in the cinema, when I was younger, I was like, they catch this contradictionary of the human beings, the beautiness and the war, and that kept with me. So when I did Amrum, I thought a lot about other cinematographic examples like Ladri di Bicicletti, A Brighter Summer Day by Edward Young, like how to photograph the story, but also Terrence Malick's work, of course.
Tenemos tiempo para una última pregunta. La película ha sido un éxito enorme en Alemania. ¿Crees que los temas de la película han resonado especialmente con el público alemán por el tiempo en el que vivimos actualmente, por el alce de la ultraderecha, por los conflictos mundiales que estamos viviendo?
Look, what Germany has been through, not just Germany, the whole world, because of Germany, but also in Germany, is a traumata. Second World War was a traumata, a huge traumata with millions and millions and millions of dead people. And a traumata of guilt, and a traumata of suppress the guilt, and the traumata of losing all the men of a society, whatever, So such a traumata is not being solved or cured in one generation. It was too big, You need therapy. Cinema is a sort of therapy. It's not the only one, but I think it's an effective one. I believe that the success of the film speaks for the want and need for therapy in the German society.
Thank you so much for your time. Good luck with the movie and the release in Spain. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.